Okay, so once you have ironed down your seam to where it's pointing towards the main fabric side, we're going to do something called top stitching, where we are going to be making a really close line of stitching right along this edge here, and that kind of helps to hold the seam down and it looks pretty. So there's no particular seam allowance for this. We just want to try to get it pretty close to the edge, just not on this edge. You don't want to be on this edge, but you want to be like maybe about here. So pretty close to it. And again, we're going to go forward 1, 2, 3. I went 4, but that's okay. Now I'm going to go backwards 1, 2, 3. Okay, and so now I'm going to just top stitch right along this edge, just like that. And you're going to go all the way down. Okay, so you can see we have our nice row of top stitching going all the way down the pillowcase. So now we're going to take this back over to the table to lay it out so that we can sew the sides of the pillowcase together. Alright, now our pillowcase is actually almost done. So we've got the border on there, we've got the top stitching done. So now we're going to fold the whole pillowcase in half with right sides together. So that's the pretty side of our fabric. We're going to fold that together and we're going to sew up 2 of the edges and leave the border edge open so that we can stick a pillow in there. Okay, so here's our, you can see we've got our kind of long piece right here. So we want to fold it in half like this so that these edges down here match up like that and these edges here match up. And we are going to pin along this side right here, and we're going to pin on this side. This is the edge where we can put our pillow in. So you can see it kind of looks like a pillowcase now. So we're going to go through and pin these edges. Okay, so then let's take this to the machine to sew those 2 sides. Okay, so I like to start with the border end. And something that I haven't mentioned also is you want to sew with all the bulk of your fabric kind of sticking off the edge of your machine. Like you wouldn't want to be trying to sew here and like everything's sort of jammed up under your machine like that. Plus, then you can't use your seam allowances, like these little measurements right here. So we're going to start here. We're going to do the 1/2 inch seam allowance. So we're going to start right on the edge, right there. And I'm one-handed, so I'm going to get it all set up. Okay, so same as before. We're going to go forward 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. And then we're going to do our reverse and go backwards 1, 2, 3. And then we're just going to sew forward, making sure to keep that 1/2 inch seam allowance the whole way down. Alright, so when you get about a 1/2 inch away from the end, because that's our seam allowance, we want to stop with our needle and we're going to lift our presser foot up, but we're keeping that needle down right there. And we're going to pivot and turn our fabric so that now we can switch directions and go down this side of the pillowcase. So you're going to continue down the second side. Once you get to the very end, go all the way to the edge. And then you're going to do your reverse again. 1, 2, 3. And then forward 1, 2, 3. All right, and then we're done. Now to finish it up, we're going to do the same thing that we did before in using these pinking shears. And we're going to cut our 2 seams that we just sewed, this one here and this one here. again, be very careful that you're not getting too close. You want it to be, if you can see my seam right there, you want it to be a little bit away from that. There. And the very last thing that you're going to do is we're going to clip our corner so that it turns around a lot nicer. So we're going to take our little corner right there. We're just going to take some scissors, again, not too close to where you turned the corner, and we're just going to cut off a little bit of that extra right there. And you can do the same thing over on this side if you'd like. Just remember, don't get your stitches. Okay, and then we can flip this right side around. And we now have our finished pillowcase. So thank you for joining me for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and happy sewing!